Greetings, everyone. My name is Delilah Brown. I am the co-creator of Empathy Month 2024 in the USA. And I would like to welcome all of you, all of our viewers and attendees who want to participate in this global online event that was created to raise awareness how empathy can create a friendlier world. Empathy has its superpower of connecting the hearts. I would like to welcome today's speaker, Olenka Shapereva. She is from Ukraine and lives in Poland now, and she will talk about a very special aspect of empathy in a war zone. So we are very excited to welcome you, Olenka. Thank you for being here today.
I'm happy and I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Let me just introduce you just a little bit so people get a background. So you have a master's degree in English and German philology and literature. And you worked in the Peace Corps with many IT companies, educational institutions. You created language courses and participated in several different social charity projects. How exciting! And I would like to highlight your hobby, which is writing children's books. I'm very excited, and I hope to be able to publish one of your treasures, which is called Garden Treasures during Empathy Month. So, again, welcome and thank you for sharing your story. So,
Thank you.
my first question would be, can you describe a typical day in Ukraine before the Russian war?
That was a typical day of a teacher. At that time, I worked in a private school, Montessori private school, and I would wake up, get ready for the day, and make breakfast for the family, get my child ready for the school, take him to school. Then I had lessons there, and then we would go home, return home together, and it was the usual routine. Then after school, we went to different groups like robotics, and he attended a swimming pool and Aikido, different stuff. And then in the evening, I would prepare to my school lessons or prepare to some other stuff. So it was like usual. And on the weekend, we would go somewhere to the park, to the center of the city. We live on the bank of the beautiful Dnipro River. That's the largest river, and it's always different at different times. So, and also to the woods that are nearby. Cherkasy is a very picturesque place. So we would spend time there.
You. So, how did this change? How do people manage their lives in the war zone now?
On the 24th of February, we were woken up by the calls of our colleagues and friends from the north of Ukraine and from the south of Ukraine. And I remember these words like it started. They started. Although we apprehended war before, but we believed to the last moment that common sense would win, that like in the 21st century, a war in Europe is impossible, was impossible. So we couldn't believe. Somehow we realized what was going on, what was brewing. However, we didn't want to believe that it was possible. We were informed that there were explosions and that Russians started shelling cities. And then in half an hour, we heard a huge explosion not far from us. We knew where they hit and knew why. And the explosions were really sinister. When you hear that, it's very scary, it's frightening. And when you have a child and you start thinking about your responsibilities, it's terrifying. And everything was canceled. School was canceled, work was canceled. And we started thinking what to do. And we lost sleep. And not only me, a lot of people lost sleep. I could sleep only 1 hour per day. So that was awful.
Wow, that sounds awful. Thank you for willing to return this memory and to share with us. So, how did you personally manage this very, very sudden change in your life? If you can share any inspiring stories, like what happens? I know you had an experience with an explosion, and then you just felt like a protective mother, and that feeling took over. If you can just share how this created empathy in your life, self-empathy, and maybe empathy towards your son and others in your community that were experiencing this.
Yeah, at that moment, so when the war started, I was sure that I would stay and I would volunteer because before that we had experiences with different stuff, and I had always been active. So when all that happened, I was pretty sure that I would stay. However, there was an accident that changed everything. It was the third day of war, and in the evening we had a blackout when we were asked to switch off the lights because we believed that they bombed cities somehow, that they saw, the lights or something, and it was dark, and it was like the lights black out, and I was in the house and my son was in the yard. He was feeding dogs, and then I heard some sound very similar to the one that I had heard in the afternoon, and those were bombers. And then I heard this bomber, some plane here coming like lower and lower. I didn't know what it was, I couldn't see. And then I got onto the porch and cried to my son to run and hide in the cellar, because we have a cellar. And the sound was so loud that he didn't hear my voice. And he ran, maybe, so he doesn't remember anything, by the way. So I ran into the house because it was cold. I put on my coat. While putting on my coat, I heard the explosion. The only thing that I realized was that the explosion was not in the ground, but it was in the air. And actually, that was a missile that was shot down, perhaps by a plane. We don't know. We have no information about that. But the explosion was so great that I thought the windows would come off and everything dingled. So I rushed into the yard and I was calling my son by name, and he didn't answer because he was also like shocked. He felt even the wave of explosion pushing into his back. And there was no air raid siren, by the way. And so this moment, silent moment, when I thought that he had perished, was so much stressful to me that I couldn't make any decisions. I stopped being able to make decisions. I even had problems with remembering things. And we spent some time in the cellar, but then came out, and it was decided that I should leave Ukraine because I was so much stressed out. By the way, at that time, I couldn't realize why I was so much stressed out. Because I'm not a person who, gets physically scared by a lot of things. No, vice versa. I like adrenaline. And later on, and I think it's due to coherence practice, I realized what exactly made me so weak. And it was one of the insights through coherence practice that it was this moment, of thinking that I lost my child. That was really petrifying. So
thank you for sharing that very vulnerable moment. I am so privileged to be able to hear that story. And you mentioned coherence practice. So that was one of my questions, that how do you cope with such a horrific experience and just being in this enormous stress? You mentioned coherence practice. So is that one of the coping skills that you practice? When did you learn the coherence practice? If you can elaborate on that for us, that would be very helpful.
When we left Ukraine, and we were living with a heavy heart, I was crying. When you leave behind everything you love, it's very hard. And when we came to Poland, I was also very much surprised, astonished by the huge work that the Polish people made, and our friends who invited us also helped so many people. And they are really empathetic as well. And at that moment, my cousin's wife, Ayako, called me, and we had a conversation with her, and she invited me to embark on the project. She explained to me about Coherence, about HeartMath Institute, and after a conversation with her, I decided to agree and to, although I didn't know, and at the time I was so doubtful, because you're stressed out, you're in adaptation, you don't know what to do next. What would happen next? And it helped me a lot because it gave me the vision, the action plan. It made me more adaptable and flexible, and helped me to be more aligned with the changes, because you live without plans for the future. You don't know what to do next. But then, thanks to Ayako and her training, and thanks to this work, I realized that, okay, if the conditions are like that, then okay, I will react like that. If like that, then like that. So you become more adaptable. You become more ready for, quick decision making. And that's really powerful about the connection practice. And we spent a year together, working, learning, training. And then I started working with a friend of mine, and she lives to the north of Kiev, and they are shelled pretty often. And she now says that if before the connection protest, they had rushed to the shelter every time they heard the air raid siren. Now she takes her phone, reads carefully what is going on, what plane is in the air, where it is in the air, and then she like calculates if she needs to go to the shelter, because if there are ballistic shells, then it's highly dangerous. However, if there are planes in the Crimea or something, so she then considers the degree of hazard, and they may stay in flat, just they follow this two-wall rule, and they stay in the corridor. They have this cozy place where to stay now, and she doesn't panic. She doesn't panic, and that's very nice because she has a little child. He looks at his mom, and he sees that mom's okay. Yeah, mom's quiet, calm, and he is calm. So that's really great. And I had also one peculiar experience. I was in Ukraine, and it was late night, and I heard the sound of the Shahed. That's Iranian weapon. It's different from the missile. And I heard it, and I heard one, and then I heard the second, then I heard the third, and I understand that they are coming in a group, and they usually cross our city when they fly to Kiev, onto Kiev. Yeah, they cross our city, they go over a city. And I had this feeling, this animal fear that went under the skin from my ankles to my stomach, like it was crawling, like a wave was rising. And simultaneously, I thought, peculiar experience. I wasn't panicking. It's like double thinking. It's so weird, but I understand, I realize that it's only due to the coherence practice. I guess the next level will be when I don't feel this fear, when it doesn't even happen in my body. But that was something quite different.
Wow, that is very, very powerful. That's amazing. Can you possibly talk about what is the actual practice that you taught your friend? Like walk us through the steps, what you told her to do, like the 3 steps to the quick coherence. So the viewers get the idea of what this exactly is, this practice.
We did the quick, like every meeting, at the beginning of every meeting, we would we regularly do now as well. So we do the quick coherence when we focus on our heart, breathe through the heart, and open our heart to the heart appreciation, to the feeling of appreciation. And then we'll share our appreciation with the world, with all living beings. And then after that, we would speak about the issues that she has, mostly connected with the war. And then find the triggering moment, analyze her emotions, analyze her need, recognize emotions, and then figure out the needs, the main need, and then again do the 3 steps of heart focus, heart breathing, and heart appreciation. And then when she gets the answer to the question, what do I have to know? when she has the insight, she shares and speaks about the plan of actions. And it really helps. It really helps. There are a lot of issues in connection with war, and it's not only about physical safety. There are also other issues as well, and it helps me as well.
Thank you. It looks like practicing on a regular basis really makes a difference.
It does. It
Can,
does.
can you tell us a little bit about your visits back to Ukraine during Christmas times and walking in the woods? What are some stories that you would like to share with our viewers?
Right. We were walking, you know, when you are in the city and there is an air raid siren, and you have this feeling if you hide somewhere, you are in safety. So even if I'm at home and I'm in the yard, and when I hear this air raid siren, I go into the house. Although I understand that the house is not, you know, is not something that can spare, you know, not spare, but protect me, yeah, if something dreadful happens. It's only the debris, yeah, that can be avoided if you're in the house. But we were with my child in the woods, walking our dog, and it was winter time. In winter, the woods is like bare, yeah, trees are bare, and it's like transparent. You can see in the distance. And it was definitely there was no place to hide, even if it is, you know, a delusion, like a house. Yes, so if it is shelled, so it won't save you. And I remember that I heard this air raid siren, and I just switched to this state because now I can switch to the state of heart appreciation. Maybe it's not that, you know, strong as when you do all the 3 steps, but still it becomes automatic, and it doesn't take a lot of focus now. And then I looked at my child who got nervous, and I talked to him, and we did it. We did 3 steps, although I saw how difficult it was for him. But when he saw that I was confident and calm, it helped him. And we walked, he was ready to run home. Yeah. But we walked. We walked normally, returned home, but later on, he confessed that it was a very stressful moment for him because you cannot hide in the woods. And the heart-brain coherence really worked for me to stay calm and to help him also not to panic.
And that's a big deal because we experience fear and panic in our everyday lives. Of course, it's magnified in the war zone. It's very different. But just as a message to our viewers, because I really, really love the connection practice and the heart brain coherence, how it's really a life skill and it can make a huge difference in the quality of your life. It's an amazing practice.
It is,
And
it definitely is.
in talking about practices, I know in such times, it's really important to emphasize that people stepping up and volunteering can make a huge difference. Can you tell us a little bit about how volunteering is actually impacting the communities in Ukraine?
Oh, the volunteering is so great. It's like a torrent, it's enormous. people volunteer, and a lot of people who volunteered perished because they were executed if they were caught by the Russians. And some great volunteers also are at risk, but people continue supporting our troops. And one of the ways to fundraise money is to make charity auctions. And what is at the auction? Yeah, what is sold there? From the frontier, there are people who bring blank shells, just blank shell, metal cylinders. And there are artists who paint them in different traditional ornaments. And then these blank shells become artworks, and they are sold, and they can be sold at a very high price, and they don't cost this price, of course. It's only due to the auction, yeah, that people can, pay such money, but they become something like a collective item, something like memorabilia, and they can cost $500, and people pay because they understand that it's our protection, it's for the protection, it's for our future peace, for our future prosperity, and for peaceful life, which is now appreciated when you leave Ukraine and you step on this, you make the first step out of the train on the territory where where your need for physical safety is satisfied. It's like even you breathe easier. It's like the air is sweet because you feel relieved, such a great relief. So, and my niece also participates in such auctions. She is an artist, and she paints such shells, and she's very, like honored by this role that she was given this opportunity, and trust, yeah, that she can bring something, so that she can make an input in our future victory.
Wow, that is such an amazing story. Thank you very much for sharing that. Maybe if you can give us some pictures later on as a follow-up, then we can post some of those pictures online.
Sure,
So
sure.
people have an idea, and also maybe some information where people actually can donate if they feel that this cause is calling to them. And I would like to take the opportunity to use this as a call to action to volunteer in general. Just volunteer. I know everybody's busy, but even if we dedicate 1 hour a month to volunteering for a cause that speaks to your heart, it could be veterans or animals or elderly people, whatever you feel like is important to you, that 1 hour a month is 12 hours a year. If we add this up to a million, a billion people doing it, we can make a huge impact on our communities. So please keep that in mind, dear viewers, because this is really important. Because that is the very reason why we are actually having this Empathy Month global online event, because we want to raise awareness about empathy, self empathy, and empathy towards others, because it can make a huge impact through this ripple effect, one heart helping the other one. it spreads the energy, and it's in our families, our communities, our countries, and everywhere on planet Earth. So I invite you to be a participant and make a difference. And on that note, I would like to ask Olenka, what is your definition of empathy?
For me, empathy is connecting hearts. That's when you connect hearts, your heart, with another person, and you have this connection, but you feel it. Yeah, you feel it as if there is some connection going through your heart to the heart of another person, and everything becomes clear. Everything becomes easy. You are like on the same wavelength. So that's connection for me.
Thank
And
you.
empathy.
Empathy. Yes.
Empathy.
I
Yeah.
mean, empathy and connection. I look at empathy as a tool to actually connect with myself and others. So it's a very, very important aspect of our lives. And once we allow ourselves to feel, we give permission to the other people to do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
definitely so right.
I feel that that is one way to spread this beautiful energy and make a difference. I know it's very difficult when we are talking about a war zone, and there are many negative things going in our lives. But if we can stay in that aspect of appreciation and gratitude, we're able to ground ourselves and be able to put that positive energy into the world and not add to the negative energy.
Right. Right. Right.
Thank you,
There.
Olenka. I want to tell you how much I am honored and privileged to hear your story and the story of Ukraine at the current times. And I am very excited that we are able to record this and have this session during Empathy Month. And I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you. And I'm looking forward to seeing the garden treasures so we can publish it.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you. Me
again.
too. Me too. Looking forward to this event. That's really, really great, and for me, very much unexpected, but very much anticipated.
Thank you so much. You take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.